Welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Laurie LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
Here we go. What you think about, you will bring about.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie LeBay, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm thrilled that you're here with us today. We are going to be talking about preserving dignity when incontinence hits. But before I go there, I always have to do a little bit of housekeeping. First, I want to say thank you to the Mark Arneson Band, who allows us to play Clarion Call as our opening music. I just love that song. And for those of you that are new, Alzheimer's Speaks is about sound information, not just sound bites. We like to have real conversations with real people. So maybe, just maybe, you can be our next guest. We don't care where you are in the world or what position you have. What are your thoughts and feelings about dementia? What are you doing about it? What are the needs? Let us know. Reach out to me at radio@alzheimersspeaks.com. And if you haven't checked out Dementia Map, please do that. We have 150 different categories to choose from. There's a blog, there's a glossary of terms, there's a calendar of events, all kinds of cool things. And speaking of calendar of events, you can go to a free virtual event sponsored by Artist Senior Living. And that is going to be Wednesday, April 20th from 5:30 to 6:30 Central. So that'd be 6:30, 7:30 Eastern time, called As the Cookie Crumbles. And I'll be presenting that. I'll be sharing my 30 years experience, some of the tips and tricks that I learned caring for my own mother who lived with dementia. And then on May 12th, there's going to be a dementia summit, and that will be both virtual and in person in St. Cloud, Minnesota. That is being held by Central Minnesota Dementia Community Action Network, known as DCAN, and Dr. Dale Brennison is going to be their keynote speaker there. So that's going to be a fantastic session. And you know, I'm big on support groups. So I'm still so thankful for Arthur Senior Care, who continues to sponsor our Memory Cafe, which we hold twice a month from 1 to 2 o'clock Central Time. And that is virtual. Anybody can participate anywhere around the world on that. And then also, I do an in-person support group for both the care partners, and there's a respite for their loved ones, which is sponsored by Brookdale North Oaks in Minnesota. And that is on the last Wednesday of each month from 10 to 11. And if we can't get together in person, then we meet virtually. Also, if you haven't, time is a ticking. Get your applications in for Maud's Awards. There you can win $5,000 to $25,000 for the work you've already done that is improving people's lives living with dementia. Last, I just want to let you know we're going to be hearing from the Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner, and they're going to tell us a little bit more about the foot bar walker. And then when we come back, you're going to meet our guests, and we are going to be off and running. And I know you can't imagine that incontinence as a topic can be uplifting, but I promise you that's exactly what this is going to be, all about giving hope. So hang on, and we'll be right back.
I love the foot bar walker, and let me tell you why. It is the option for my toolbox that I've been waiting for. Let's be honest. There are some clients who, despite our best rehab efforts, just aren't able to return to performing a sit-to-stand transfer on their own. Now I can offer my caregivers an easier, safer option that doesn't involve hoisting their loved one up from a sitting position. I don't recommend this walker for all of my clients, but I do recommend this walker for those caregivers looking for an easier, safer option with transfers. I would also encourage other therapists to add this walker to their toolbox. It's kind of like having my own mobile parallel bars for the client to pull up on. Whether it's a family caregiver at home helping a loved one with Parkinson's or dementia, CNAs in a long-term care facility assisting their patients, or therapists adapting to client and caregiver-specific needs, we now have a very safe and effective option to offer in the footbar walker. Check this product out at thefootbarwalker.com. That's it for today from Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner. Have a great day, and don't forget, if you can't do it, adapt it.
Well, we are back, and we are going to have a really exciting conversation, like I said, about continence care program that is really changing lives. So I'm going to introduce you to all of these women, and then we will start our conversation. So this is actually the 4 of a 4-part series that Seni has sponsored, which is just absolutely fabulous. We have Deanna Vigliotta with us, who is their national sales manager for Seni, and she's just kind of crazed about getting this product out and changing lives. And their product is known to be a premier adult incontinence product. And Deanna has over 30 years experience and background in healthcare sales. And she joined Seni back in 2019, whose parent company is TZMO. And their whole goal was to expand their presence in the U.S. And let me tell you, they are doing just that. I can't wait to talk more about their new continence products. So Deanna is with us. And then also her associate, Laurie Gredlein, is with us. And she's been working in healthcare and senior living for over 15 years herself. And she is an account executive for Seni in the Northeast region of New Jersey. Also joining us are 3 women from Senior Helpers. And so Marisa Biserna is a nurse who has worked in home care and hospice for more than 25 years. And she's actually the newest amongst the group here. And she oversees 3 Senior Helpers locations in New Jersey. Her mother also lives with Alzheimer's. And so she is really committed to dignity and aging. And then we have Linda Panarella, and she has over 15 years experience managing personalized care for seniors. She's a certified dementia practitioner, and she is also a PAC certified independent trainer. She's the director of business development for Senior Helpers and Town Square Adult Day Enrichment Centers. She serves as a consultant for the development and construction of the first Town Square in New Jersey. And then wrapping us up here, we have Robin Roundtree, and she is the marketing manager for Senior Helpers in Orlando. When Robin's mother was diagnosed with Lewy body, she decided she better learn all about caregiving and getting assistance and building a care team, even if some of those lessons came at our own expense, which most of us who have cared for a loved one know exactly what she's talking about there. The care her mother received actually from Senior Helpers was a game changer for her, and it made a huge impact on her quality of life as well as her mom's. After her mom passed away, Robin chose to leave her broadcasting career and to help family members on the caregiving journey by working for Senior Helpers herself. Robin actually hosts a podcast called Informed Aging, and she is also an advisory team member of the Central Florida Lewy Body Group. Well, ladies, I am so thrilled to have you with us today. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I always start out by asking our guests if they've been personally touched by dementia. So I'm just going to go around one by one and have you answer that. It just gives our audience a little bit of background. So Deanna, if you don't mind starting.
Yes, thanks, Laurie, for having us here today. I have been touched by it. My aunt on my father's side had Alzheimer's disease and unfortunately passed from the disease.
Okay, thank you very much. And Laurie, how about you? Have you been touched in your family or circle of friends?
Yes, I have, Laurie. Unfortunately, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and as the progression started to go downward, she had to move in with my father, and they became the caretakers for her for about 6 years before she passed.
Okay, thank you. And Marisa, how about you?
Hi, Laurie. Yes, thanks for having us today. My mom has Alzheimer's, and my dad is her primary caregiver, as well as me and my sister. And obviously, in my professional career, I've come across it in all levels of nursing and home care.
Okay, wonderful. And Linda?
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you. Yes, my life was touched with my mother being diagnosed at what we would now call early onset rather. She was probably in her 50s when symptoms started to show. We just didn't recognize them for what they were, and diagnosed by the time she was 63 and passed very young, not much older than I am right now.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And Robin, how about you?
Yes, my mother had Lewy body dementia, and I was in charge of her care for 6 years. She passed in 2017 in her 70s, so she left us a little too young.
Wow, talk about being touched in our
Yeah.
group. Pretty significant. And I'm finding more and more people are realizing they've been touched, where many years ago they weren't diagnosed or it wasn't really discussed and things. So this is an issue that touches so many families. So thank you, ladies, for sharing. Deanna, I'm gonna start out with you. You know, this is our 4th series here, and I have learned something in all of the other series. And every time I get done with one of these series, I get really excited because the people that you've pulled together for these series are so passionate about dignified aging and preserving independence. And it's always such a hopeful conversation. So first I have to say thank you, and Laurie and Seni, for doing this, because it's a game changer out there to be able to get a comfortable conversation started. So why don't you tell us a little bit in terms of who we've had and how Senior Helpers is a little bit different, because every conversation's been a little twisted, a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to answer that question for sure. So we, pre-pandemic, right around when the pandemic started, we started reaching out to home care companies as more and more articles came out about people wanting to live longer in their homes. And so our Seni team and my colleagues, we thought about, a continence care program may be the way to go. And we started talking with different home care agencies at the local level to see if our program would have a good fit. And what I mean by the program would be home care agencies offering Seni products via free Seni product samples and education about the products and measuring tools and all things that make it easy for one of their clients to utilize the products and actually get the products via the home care agency. So local feedback, and then right on up at the national level with several home care companies, we started talking, and the program evolved and the interest evolved. And so as Senior Helpers, it's a little bit unique in that we have been vetted by their corporate folks. Their clinical team took a look at our products. We had many discussions probably back since last summer, but around November timeframe is when we formalized a program with them. And what that means basically is corporate Senior Helpers supports the program, and it allows my colleagues and I to knock on the doors of the local agencies to say, hey, have you heard of Seni? Can we tell you about Seni? Here's what we're thinking. How does this fit in with your agency? And it allows us to really get a pulse on the different markets throughout the country and how local agencies can differ a little bit. So it's a great relationship. It takes time to knock on all those doors. I think Senior Helpers has over 300 locations across the country nationwide. So our team is knocking on those doors and having conversations, and baby steps all the way. But what's wonderful is even some of the folks you'll learn on this program today have been referring Seni products in a more informal capacity for a couple of years now with great outcomes. So those doors are very easy to say, hey, now we have a formal program and your corporate has vetted us. So we're very excited to be working with this group across the board. We have found, I think Laurie will agree, and my teammates will agree with me, people are passionate, people are committed. We're not so siloed as an industry. We're really full circle of what's in the best interest for seniors that we service together. And I know my belief is we are better together when we are aligned with solutions that make sense. So it's a new relationship, exciting relationship. And I think we're on the road to helping a lot of people within the Senior Helpers organization and the seniors that they service.
Well, and I like even the name of the program. It's the Continence Program. It's not the Incontinence Program. And I know when I talk, I still use incontinence kind of as a transition because people don't see it as a problem. And it's like, yeah, because we're going to fix that, for you. But it just that in and of itself, has just such a positive light and spin on it too. So thank you. Robin, why don't you tell us a little bit about Senior Helpers? Because there might be people in our audience that don't really know what is it you guys do.
Okay, well, we do in-home care or in-facility care. So we're doing those things just to make life a little bit easier, helping out with the shower, preparing meals. It just depends on the person, but it's, non-medical care in the home. So that can be a few hours a week all the way up to 24/7. But we do specialize in Alzheimer's and dementia care. So all of our caregivers are trained in dementia.
And then about you, is there anything else you want to add in terms of your background that maybe I didn't cover in the intro?
Yeah, actually, Senior Helpers is the company that I decided to use while I was caring for my mom. And this is before I was in this industry at all. So after she passed, I looked back at the whole experience and said, okay, who did I really learn from? And it was Senior Helpers. They were always a phone call away to just answer a question. So I thought, well, I've spent 6 years learning how to be a caregiver. It's time to use my master's degree, as my brother called it, and help other people, because I did it kind of, at a younger age. My peers aren't quite going through this yet. So I shared a lot of the journey on Facebook. So now people know to reach out to me. And now I quit my other career and came to work to Senior Helpers 4 years ago.
Wow. Well, talk about really believing and being transitioned through that proof of compassionate care and understanding. And kudos to you for taking what you've learned and bringing it back and playing it forward. So thank you for that. Robin, I also wanted to ask you, because I know Deanna had mentioned you guys have been using some Seni products already, and you're referring clients to buy the products for a couple of years now. But before the Care Continence program, arrived, I'm wondering if you can share some of the details in terms of, what were you hearing in the homes? What were you seeing in the homes regarding urinary incontinence?
Right. It's a big problem. And I was excited because Deanna had given me the solution, So, I started off with just, if they mentioned it was a problem, here's some samples. And then I would hear, oh my gosh, this is incredible. My aunt had a stroke. And so, of course, I made sure she had some samples. My cousin said, well, I used every other brand that's out there and Seni's the best. So you hear comments like that coming from your own family. You're like, okay. And it was just, everybody was so thrilled that there was something better. Just last week we had a family and they're like, every morning we have to do the laundry because the bed is wet. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you, the Seni, try this out. I think it's going to help. And we gave them 2 samples and they had 2 nights, without 2 mornings with having to do the laundry. And it just, you don't think about what a big deal it is until you get it fixed. And then you're like, okay, I'm not doing laundry for an hour and a half today. So it's really been an incredible response from everybody who's tried it. So it's really a brand I believe in.
It's interesting when you talked about laundry, because this hasn't come up. I mean, doing laundry and the whole starting your morning off with that,
right.
Isn't what everyone, wants their day to kick off with. But
right.
One thing that we never talked about, which might be a really interesting concept, is for Seni to look at the cost savings of water and electric and detergent. We've talked about how, it brings dignity back and that peaceful atmosphere and everyone's a little more relaxed. And it's like, oh my gosh, we can actually get this done now. But
right.
in terms of that, there's that, other savings that I think sometimes we just forget about. And maybe that's just top of mind because I just got my water bill, on there. But, I one of the things I've loved about this discussion is it's so big. I mean, the benefits are just they're so massive on so many different levels. And I think that that's really cool. So thanks for sharing that, Robin. Laurie, can you kind of speak to your relationship that you've had with Linda and Marisa? They're in New Jersey, where Robin is in Orlando, and they are kind of the newest in your relationships there. So
yes, absolutely. So I met one of their colleagues and at a networking event, and a few people had brought me over to be introduced to their colleague. And as soon as we started talking, she said to me, "You need to meet Linda. She runs the town square." And I said, it's funny, I've never even walked in one of your town squares. I would love to meet Linda and her team and learn more, and also talk about Seni and how we can provide their members with some free samples if they're, having issues and things like that. So we set up the appointment, and I got to meet Linda and Marisa for the first time. We sat down, we went over some of the Seni benefits. We did I did a demonstration for them. They loved the products. We had a gentleman, a sweet man, walk in and chat with us for a few minutes. Just a sweetheart of a man, and just made himself very comfortable. So we stopped our meeting and talked to him for a few minutes, and walking around and getting the tour of Town Square. That is just an amazing place. Enrichment Center. Linda just told me some wonderful stories about some of their members who, didn't exactly want to come in and spend their day at Town Square. And after they had done it for the first time, the family members were calling Linda almost in tears because their loved ones had had such an enjoyable day. So it just, it means a lot to them for that to be a success. And they are partnered up with Senior Helpers in some ways. Some of the owners own agency, a Senior Helpers agency, and then they also have that opportunity to own Town Square or more.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited for Linda to be here because I've always wanted Town Square on the radio, and I didn't think I'd get you in this way, but I'll take it. And so I can't wait to get to you, but I'm going to go to Marisa first, if you don't mind. And Marisa, if you can tell us a little bit about your agency and you're newer to the Senior Helper clan per se, and what was your reaction to see Laurie's demonstration and kind of approach to continence care?
Sure. So my agency, where I met Laurie, is in Brick, New Jersey, but I have more than one location. I have one in Brick, I have one in Cherry Hill, and soon to open one in Linwood. So I was, dealing with incontinence care in my nursing career for the past 25 years in home care hospice. It's just a constant challenge for families. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. They can deal with dementia and Alzheimer's until this comes in. And then that's when they really start to look and reach out for help. And a product, it's funny because my father called me Sunday night. Sunday is his days alone with my mom. He has help Monday through Saturday. And of course, he called me Sunday morning, actually, and he said, "Can you order me some more of those, protective pads for the bed?" Had to change the bed again this morning. And I immediately thought, wait till I get you this product. Wait till I just want them to be my testimony. I saw the demonstration with Laurie. I was really impressed with what I saw, but I want to see it in real life and see it on my own mom. And if I could save my dad that Sunday morning linen change, it would be wonderful. So when you're adding up your costs of laundry detergent and water, add the cost of those disposable Chuck's pads for the bed as well.
That's a good point. And then, like Robin saw it in her family, firsthand experience and cousins and the whole 9 yards. I mean, that's really cool when the work you do makes such a big difference. And family doesn't always like to admit that other family members have this was a good decision,
right,
depending on dynamics and stuff within a family. So to get that and to see that and to have it be your own loved ones. That's wonderful.
I think it means, so much more when you can give a very personal testimony to the product, when you're talking about it with customers.
Oh, absolutely.
Clients,
absolutely.
Patients. If there's one thing I vowed, and I said this the other day on the call, to my mom, is that I will protect her dignity at all costs. So if there's a product that will do that and help my family, help my father as well, and protect my mom's dignity, I'm willing to try it and be the first one to recommend it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Linda, I wanted to talk with you. I understand that you were an owner of Senior Helpers and that you and Marisa also, work together at Town Square, your adult enrichment center. I'm wondering if you can give us a little bit of detail. First, to tell people a little bit about Town Square. That might be helpful in and of itself. And then, the background in terms of how it came to be and how a Senior Helpers fits in, and then pulling Seni in as well. It's kind of a layered process there.
Sure. Happy to do that. I do want to state I am not an owner at Senior Helpers.
Okay.
I'm formerly a director of operations with Senior Helpers, but then transitioned into Town Square as business development director and helped to develop the first site that our owner opened in Brick, New Jersey, called Town Square at the Jersey Shore. It's an incredible concept and a whole new option for seniors that is so exciting. Because we all know that the price of care is going up and up and up. It's harder and harder for families to be affording one-on-one care when they need to have care for a full day. For instance, a daughter who may be caring for her mom at home but needs to go to work typically is not able to afford a one-on-one caregiver in the home for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's where Town Square comes in as a really wonderful second option, because we can take care of needs, provide support, provide supervision, but more importantly, provide absolute engagement and enrichment and joining them into a community. And that's what we found. What's so different about Town Square and exciting is that it's a whole new concept in daycare. Adult daycare has served its purpose well for decades. It truly has, to not take anything away from it. But that's the point. It has been decades and there hasn't been a change. And this is revolutionary. We're built like a town in the 50s, the 1950s, 1960s. And we have a huge space that allows us to not have only an open park area, where every Town Square has a vintage car parked. Ours has a 1955 Oldsmobile parked right inside. And all around that park area then are 13 different storefronts. We call them themed activity rooms, where members can go to engage in a variety of activities. So we have a health club, a music room. We have a theater that seats 40. We serve breakfast, lunch, and a snack in the afternoon in Rosie's Diner, which is a retro 50s diner with a jukebox playing inside. We have a salon where ladies can have their hair done. We have a city hall and a learning center where they can take virtual trips or take a class if they wish to. It breaks all the myths about aging and the idea that people as they age really don't want to learn new things or try new things. We're not only engaging folks in past pursuits, but we're challenging them to try new things and finding that they love it. And the story with Laurie was absolutely correct that, we do meet a lot of resistance from people who could be potential members, because any idea of needing support or any idea of needing care just signals I'm losing my independence, and that makes everybody uncomfortable. But what we find is that with a visit or two, they are won right over and they're coming in happy every day. Our transportation company tells us that they have a party on the way to us every day before they get out of their vans. And we love that story. So Town Square came out of a partnership with Senior Helpers. That's what the connection is. So our owner happens to have multiple locations in New Jersey with Senior Helpers and in Pennsylvania as well. But also, we have just opened our second Town Square in Princeton, New Jersey. with a fourth to come very soon. We already have a lease in Marlton, New Jersey, and we're looking for a site in Monmouth County, New Jersey. So hopefully by this time next year, we are going to be really making a huge difference in the lives of seniors all across central New Jersey.
Well, I love it. One of the things that you mentioned was really subtle, and our audience may or may not have picked it up, but you talked about members versus clients, allowing them to join and be a part of the community. And all of what you talked about was about quality of care, comfort, dignity, getting in their space that they're comfortable, they're familiar with. I mean, that's absolutely ideal. And I can't wait for more of them to pop up, because I think we all hear over and over, I'm not a kid. I don't need a babysitter. I don't want to, I don't want to go to adult day, and sometimes those names, we just have to change in the concepts of what they look like and what they have to offer. When you're really focusing on abilities and engagement and fun, when you can have a fun time just on the bus, getting to where you want to go. I mean, that says a lot in and of itself. But I'm sure even with your members, you have issues with incontinence. And how does that impact their ability to participate in the community itself?
Well, it's absolutely a concern for anybody that wants to protect their dignity, wants to make sure that they're not going to have an accident that anybody's going to notice. We don't have a lot of members that are dealing with incontinence, but when Laurie did the presentation, there were several situations that came immediately to mind. One was with the support group that we have as part of our town square. As a give back to the community, we've developed what we call a family center. So we provide support groups as well as educational opportunities and recreational opportunities that are available to the entire community for free. You don't have to be a member to participate in that. So the one particular support group I had a couple of weeks ago it was right before Laurie came. We had 6 women participating, all caring for their husbands, and 4 out of the 6 were dealing with heavy incontinent issues and struggling with the wet bedding in the morning and all the things. And all I could think was, when Laurie made the presentation, I can't wait to go back the next time they come and tell them about this product. They're going to have to give this a try, because I think there's just huge potential for them to live life much more comfortably. And it makes it such an easier job for the caregiver as well. Everybody wants to be able to have more free time, and caregiving is just a huge responsibility to begin with. And it's amazing to see the number of people, and especially our male clients, our male caregivers who are spouses of our female members, don't necessarily come out for support groups. Our men are fairly strong and they think they can handle it, and they're not going to be the ones to show up. Once in a while, we have a few. So it amazes me when I look around the table and look at these women who are in their 80s, and I've had some in some groups that are in their 90s, and being the primary caregiver to their spouse. And the huge responsibility that is for them. There's just never a break. And so when you can get a small break, like not having to do loads of laundry and changing bedding because you've got a better product to use, then I think that's made a huge difference in everybody's life.
Well, and I would imagine that you hear, because I know I hear it a lot from families where, we were turned down because they do have some incontinence on occasion, and they don't deal with it there. And to know that you can put somebody in a product, and depending on how long your drive is, you can get them there, they can spend time, and you can get them back. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that opens a whole nother door right there in and of itself.
It's kind of interesting because we have someone who is wanting to become a client, and this is someone who's really sitting on the cusp. Can we really manage it? Because it's someone who is going to be a transition challenge for us. We're not a medical daycare. We're a social daycare. We do have CNAs and CHHAs on staff to tend to personal care, but there's a limit to what any one of them can do as far as transfers are concerned. And so we had someone telling us that her husband attends a medical daycare. Now, their day is usually shorter. That usually ends by 2:00 in the afternoon. She says he does not need to be changed all day long. And we were just rather in horror of the idea of letting someone sit in a wet product for the entire day. But the idea of what Seni seems to be able to offer, and again, we're anxious to see this happen, is that somebody could potentially come and maybe be there for a whole 8 days, and we don't have to worry about that transfer. That might make the difference on whether or not he can come to Town Square. And that was a big deal.
Yeah, very much so. Deanna, have you worked with very many adult day centers?
Yeah, we do work with some. It's interesting that there are so many channels and avenues to be able to get down to help people, but we work with one here in Orlando that has 4 or 5 different centers. And interestingly enough, the adult day center orders the products, the Seni products for their members, and the products are shipped to their house with the thinking that, if they are sleeping through the night in a good quality product, number one, if they're sleeping through the night, they don't get up, they don't fall, they don't end up at the ER, then they're more alert, more engaged, and it all goes back to full circle. Now they're coming to the daycare center more alert, more engaged, better for the caregivers, to Linda's point of less need to be changed. So it all comes full circle. So we are definitely working with more and more daycare centers. Our Continence Care program, similar to the home care model, works extremely well in the adult daycare model or adult enrichment centers. I know some of the terminology changes, but at the end of the day, it just, again, is full circle, because if you go all day, whether you're staying at your home and you're happy and you're doing things, and then, or if you're at an adult day program and you're staying happy, it does no one any good to have during the night the leaks, the wetness, the uncomfortableness, the getting up, and the negative clinical outcomes that follow that. It doesn't serve anybody well, including that incontinent person. So our goal is to continue to work with the home care agencies, continue to pursue the adult daycare. It's new. It's new. It's novel. It's baby steps all the way. And again, even we saw it with home care. That's changing. We've seen it in adult day. We'll make a phone call and they'll say, "Oh, we don't do that." and again, we'll have to backpedal and say, "We know. We're here to help," and just think of. And then to Linda's point, people come to mind. You'd be amazed how people come to mind over and over. "Oh, wait a minute, that might be a scenario. Wait a minute." Now everybody's on the same page, and it just is so rewarding for everybody. And again, if we can keep that person happier, enjoying that socialization that comes with attending a place like Town Square or other adult days, that to me is all about improvement of quality of life. It just ties right back to that improvement of quality of life all day long. So, yeah.
Well, and I think it proves a good point too, that when we don't have a solution, we don't really focus on the problem. But when we find a solution, then we want to spread the word, that, hey, this can help. And we identify that problem. It comes to the front, I think, a little bit more. It's just easier for everyone to deal with. It kind of reminds me of even the doctors a lot of times aren't telling people they've got a diagnosis of dementia because they don't know what to tell them. And when they have those resources, when they feel more comfortable with that process, the person is informed, but everybody's life is richer because everybody has a broader knowledge base. And I think that's really important. And that's one of the things that I love about what you're doing, again, is having this comfortable conversation. No one's squirming in their chair, feeling uncomfortable. And every time we meet, I keep thinking of, well, gosh, that could probably be a really good product. And this is totally off dementia or home care and or adult day. But even like chemo, they sit in those chairs forever. And incontinence hits people at all ages and stages of life. And how much easier that would make that process, that's a really difficult one, be as well. I am so excited to help spread the word on this because I do think it's really important. And again, the other thing that I found is with every single guest, you can see the passion in everybody's face, when they're talking. I mean, this isn't a commercial. People could look at this as like, oh, this is just one big commercial for Seni. And it's like, this works. Listen to the stories. Look at the differences in the product. And, not everyone who's selling a product or has a solution is passionate behind it. And the passion is there for a reason. And that's because it's really making a difference in people's lives. So I want to go around to the ladies again and see if there's any additional thoughts. So Robin, any thoughts that you have, anything that we didn't cover that should be mentioned?
I just think that it's so wonderful when I'm going into a home just to offer solutions for different things. I may tell them about the local Alzheimer's Center where there's a care support group. And now I can, I'm just there to give solutions. And hopefully they'll become a client. But if not, at least I've, helped out a little bit. So Seni is a big part of helping out.
Wonderful. Thank you. Marisa, how about you?
So one of the things that crossed my mind as we were talking about this is really access to care. One of the things I come across all the time when speaking with clients who need help in the home is they're not sure if they need a companion, somebody to just spend time with their loved one, or if they need a home health aide, who is somebody who actually has to do personal hands-on care, right? A companion isn't licensed to do that. So if they need any personal hands-on care, it automatically has to be a home health aide. Post-pandemic, the pool of home health aides has become smaller and smaller and smaller. So when a family member says to me, oh no, mom's incontinent and we need to change her diaper 3 or 4 times during an 8-hour shift, so we definitely need a home health aide, I say, okay, yep, if you're going to be providing personal care, that's definitely going to be necessary. But with this product, if those diaper changes don't have to happen as frequently and it's a shorter shift, then it opens up the pool of available caregivers for this family, which means that primary caregiver, if it's then only 4 hours, and we know that this product is good for 4 hours or 3 hours, that is another option. It opens up the pool of caregivers available for that family. And now that caregiver can run to ShopRite and do food shopping, or just go have a cup of coffee, or, provide the respite that, whatever that means to that primary caregiver, if it opens up the pool of available caregivers from senior helpers for this family. So I think it increases access to care.
Good point. Linda, how about you? Anything that you want to add?
I just thought it was interesting to note, because I feel the same way, that the continence issue does not come just with aging, and we know that it does. And it was interesting you were asking about the town square situation and how we manage that. A lot of our members are more independent. We have a broad base of membership, some needing support and some who are highly independent and probably use products, but we're not aware of it because they can manage it on their own and very discreetly. So it's something that I think that we can certainly put out there and offer to families so that they're aware of it, or to the members themselves. But when you think about it as well, it's not just the aging population. This presentation that Laurie did struck me personally in another way, because I have 2 grandchildren who are profoundly disabled and medically fragile. And their situation is that they are receiving inferior products through Medicaid, which is what supports their care. And they are, when they wake up in the morning, they are soaked to the bone, and all the bedding and all of their pajamas and everything else, and as well as probably needing a bath and being cleaned down before they can be dressed again for the day, is just an endless cycle of care. And I was struck by the potential that there could be an answer to this, that this could be something that could, at least for the nighttime diapers, to save that laundry and keep them comfortable throughout the night and not cold, makes a big difference too. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this product can spread across a wide range of age groups and needs.
Well, and for Medicare to take into all the cost savings. So it's not just the bottom line of this, but it's the bottom line of everything, that's being supported. And I know in other shows, we've talked about the supplemental products and stuff with lotions and creams and different things too. This isn't just continence pad or brief or whatever. I'm not even sure what good term there is, because everybody uses so many different things out there. Laurie, is there a term that you like to use that we should all be using these days? I know a lot of us do call it diapers, and again, it's kind of like adult day. We don't want to go to adult day. We don't need that. But it's common, and that's kind of the verbiage that's out there. So what should we be using? What should we be saying?
Well, so I was taught that brief is appropriate, and brief is with the tabs. So think of the brief as the baby diapers, except correct. We do not use the word diaper anymore in this scenario, but that is the one with the tab. So we would call that the brief. The other one would be the pull-up / underwear. It could be termed either way, is appropriate. And the way I remember that one is underwear you have to pull up, over your legs. So that's the way I kind of, that clicked with me.
Okay, well, good. Given this is our fourth part of our series, any other thoughts that you want to share, with our audience, Laurie?
I just, I appreciate all you ladies on here, and you, Laurie, especially, for hosting all of these. I just, I really love, I love that we're all, like you said, passionate about helping seniors, they don't have to be seniors. They could be people in their 40s, their 30s. It doesn't matter. To Linda's story, her grandchildren suffer from having to go on these inferior products because they're being paid for. And that happens in many, many cases. And it's such a shame. So the education, I think, is very, very important when it comes to this topic. And especially getting that word out there that there is something better. There's something that could potentially take away the use of the underpads. I mean, we work with communities that they no longer buy the underpads. They don't need them. People are sleeping through the night peacefully, staying dry in our products. That's huge. When you talked about the cost savings, factor in also the gloves. Every time a caregiver changes somebody, it could be 6 to 9, 10 times a day versus Seni, which is more like 3 to 4 times a day. Well, they're using gloves with every change. They're using washcloths with every change. Those add up, it's again, the ripple effect of our products. That's just what I love to talk about. And I love, everybody's coming to me all the time with more and more testimonials that they tried it on their loved one first before they presented it to maybe their executive director at their assisted living building or their skilled nursing, administrator. And that's really the fun part of my job, is hearing all those testimonials just coming from my friends, my colleagues, trying it out on their relatives. And then they bring it into our world, which is, we deal with all seniors, healthcare, all of it. So it's getting more and more buzz.
Yeah. Well, in healthcare, this is my eyes looking in, but to me, healthcare is one that it hasn't been excited to change. I mean, I hear a lot of times, we've always done it this way, which is a phrase that drives me crazy. And that's one of the reasons, I love to see this program. I love to see, Linda, what you're doing, with the town square, senior helpers, in terms of, just let's be a resource. Let's test this out and see what's working. Deanna, how about you? Final words for our audience?
Well, a big thank you, Laurie LeBay, for everything that you've done for the platform that's allowed us to keep spreading awareness. I'm very grateful for Linda, Marisa, Robin. I mean, it goes on and on with all the other guests. And just to Laurie's point, it's so important, so critical to look at overall value versus cost would be a big thing, 3 to 4 changes per day with Seni products, but overall value versus cost is huge. And then a person-centered approach. Not every product, a medium is a medium is a medium, brand to brand, when people are looking at all many choices out there. So sizing comes into play. So more education is needed. I think all of us serve as resources to provide that education. But if there are any silver linings with the pandemic, a bright light has been shined on the importance of individualized needs that people should be entitled to and are entitled to. And that goes beyond incontinence. It goes in all the scope of healthcare. So I think person-centered approach to care, look at value, and just know that I find that there are more good, resourceful people in the world than there are not, which is a really cool thing. And so if you look for the good, you look for the resource, we're all out here wanting to help. It's just navigate your way to find the resources, because it's out. And certainly I know the folks on the call, I can speak for them, but we're always available to help.
I think another part that just triggered me when you were talking was, this has kind of been a taboo topic. Nobody likes to talk about this publicly. And it's kind of like dementia. If we're not going to talk about the needs, we're never going to get the resources. That's just the bottom line. So we have to bring this up, and you're going to be shocked at what you find out there for resources and stuff. So, even once you try it and have success with it, don't keep it to yourself, share it, because there's other people like you that need to know. And word of mouth, I don't care what Google says, word of mouth is still our best advertiser out there by far, because Google doesn't have the passion that people do behind the message. And that gives you an authentic, real testimonial. And I don't think anything can beat that. So very helpful, again, scenario that we had today. Deanna, as far as people reaching out to Seni, what would you like to give them for contact information?
Yeah, if we could give them our website, that would be wonderful. www.seni-usa.com. And then my email address is Deanna, DEANNA Vigliotta, V as in Victor, IGLIOTTA @TZMOUSA.com. That would be fabulous and helpful, and happy to help.
Okay, wonderful. And Marisa, what would you like people to have for contact information for you?
Sure. They could reach us through our website, which is www.seniorhelpers.org, I believe. Or they could also email me, which is Biserna, that's MBISERNA @seniorhelpers.com.
Wonderful. And then Linda, how about you?
Sure, you can reach me by email at Panarella, and that's P as in Peter, ANARELLA @townsquare.net. Or you can find out more about Town Square on townsquare.net/Jersey Shore.
Wonderful. Great. And Robin, how about you?
You can find us seniorhelpers.com. If you're in the Orlando area, you would add a /Orlando to that. And also facebook.com/seniorhelpersorlando.
So wonderful. And Laurie, I know that you're connected with Deanna in terms of contact information. Again, thank you so much for your time. And Linda, we're going to have you on later on regarding your program and learn a little bit more on that as well. And then we'll hear a little bit more on how Seni products are doing at that time as well too.
I would love to do that anytime, Laurie.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Again, to our listeners, please like, click, and share. This is a really important topic. And if you can help someone else get over the hurdle of incontinence issues, I mean, you're changing their lives. So, don't be shy. This is not a time to be shy. Let them know this product exists and where they can find resources, both through Seni and through Senior Helpers and Town Square. Till next time, bye everyone. Well, hi, I'm Laurie LeBay, and I wanted to tell you about Alzheimer's Speaks, which is another great podcast. You see, my own mother lived with dementia for 30 years, and I felt lost. Did you know every 3 seconds someone in the world is being diagnosed with dementia? Odds are it's going to hit your families too. We want to help you connect to services, products, tools, research, and stories so you can be prepared. Please subscribe to Alzheimer's Speaks on your favorite podcast platform.